Hey CCA, Kyler here. Now, most people in the great US of A have seen this chart over 100 times in their lifetime, but I've only heard the word feudalism, well, about 5 times, okay? That's for the average 12-year-old, you get it. I don't want to make this a boring video, so let's let me talk about feudalism real quick. Let's peep this out. So, the base of the feudalism chart comes from the Carolingian Empire. The empire was on the brink of falling after Charlemagne, aka the ruler of the empire's death. In a last-ditch effort to save the empire, the Carolingian Empire was divided among his 3 sons. However, this didn't exactly help. You see, in the 9th and 10th century, the Carolingian Empire was constantly being raided by the soldiers known as the Vikings. Now, these were Germanic people, and everyone knows about the Vikings. I'm not going to go into them. Now, in a time of great need, people, be it peasants or knights, turned to their local nobles and kings to give them prosperity for a bit of cash or a bit of work. Hey guys, so you may be wondering, why am I on the floor here? The very dirty floor. Well, you see, I'm here representing the bottom feudal chart and possibly the most important feudal chart type in the whole existence of all of literature. See, I'm here representing the peasants, giving a round of applause, everybody. Okay, enough clapping. Now, the peasants were normally given some shelter, some food, and maybe even some water, and some protection if they were lucky. If they were to give their local knights, and maybe even a noble if they were lucky, working crops, and maybe some rent. Now, the only thing bad about the peasants is outside their normal work, they weren't that skilled at all.
But Kyler, you idiot, what about the knights?
Well, you see, the knights were a different class. Oh hey, I didn't see you walk in. Here in a more comfy manner as well, explain the good old knights for you. Now, the knights normally worked for lords and vassals. They normally gave homage and military service for some land, some food, and some protection if they were lucky. Now, the thing about the knights is they made up the backbone of the Frankish army. The Frankish army, one of the best armies known to man. They made great replacements for the chainmail-wearing foot soldiers that came before them, and they rode on horseback with those long lances up there. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground, oh, hey there! Today we're going to be talking about the kings, nobles, and the vassals. Now, think about all 3 of these, they were all very rich, very wealthy, very touching, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, now, the thing about them is the nobles and the vassals were a tad bit under the king, just by that much. And how it works, the nobles and the vassals normally gave their kings loyalty and military service to form the knights, while the kings gave them more money, as well as the things called fiefs. Now, fief was a grant of land. The nobles and vassals usually use these to house their troops, or even give them more lands to the knights for them to keep fighting for them. Now that you know all about the feudalism chart and all the classes, let's get into the actual story. So, hey CCA, Kyler here. So, anyway, talking about the Middle Ages and whatnot. In the Middle Ages, men were only concerned with one thing and one thing only, and that was warfare. Now, in these times, great people, along with just ordinary knights, came together and united with a seal of knighthood. Now, the thing about knights is, at this time, they were bound by this thing called chivalry. Chivalry was an act or rules gifted by a church. Now, in accordance with chivalry, knights were supposed to protect all defenseless people along with all females. Now, another thing about chivalry is that you were all supposed to treat prisoners like they were your best friends. Now, also this time, which is kind of weird considering that we were in friendly times, but no one really cares, was single one-on-one fights between knights on horseback with lances. Now, these things you might have heard before, they're called jousts. They're very prominent in literature and film. Let's peep this out. So, anyway, let's talk about something that might be controversial, and that's women, okay? Now, the thing about women in the Middle Ages is they were actually very important. The lord or the king, or the nobles, however you want to say it, they were normally away on court or for war duties, and the women in the castle had to step it up. They were in charge of managing the estate, as well as many peasants and knights. The thing about them also this time is they were allowed to buy land. Most of them actually didn't, because they're supposed to be subservient to their husbands, and as such, they kind of like went with that. They didn't really buy that. They just kind of went with whatever their husband went to. Now, back in these days, many women weren't that strong. They were still in those times where they were kind of weak. However, certain kinds of women were actually strong and actually more stronger than the men in this time. For instance, there was Eleanor. She was a very dominant woman in the time here.
And she ended up marrying King Henry II. Then they had 8 kids. Let's check this out. Hey guys, thank you for watching the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And one more thing, make sure to smash that like button and turn on that post notification bell so you can get alert when we drop a video.